Hi everyone, LazyFire here. Welcome back to the Hate the Player podcast. Last week we took a break and played some Counter-Strike. I actually had to upload the video 3 different times, but joining me as per usual are Three Toes and Arnold. How you guys doing?
Good.
Okay, well we got one weird vocalization and a good, so that's two goods basically. So I just wanted to brief you guys on our Counter-Strike night. How did you like that?
I mean, I love the game, so I enjoyed it, but I know Arnold hates it.
I used to really love it, and now it's just it really kind of shines how dated it is.
But you did so well.
Yeah, in the first round, you were like, every time I died, I watched you because it's like Arnold's gonna headshot like 4 people in a row. What's going on?
Yeah, no, I mean it's. I don't get me wrong, it can be fun, but I forgot how mad at video games that game makes me. Oh wow.
Yeah, in the second round, you were really having issues there.
Yeah, no, not having fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we got stunted on.
That second round, it was kind of okay going into halftime, and then it turned around.
And then we got accused. Oddly enough, as bad as we were playing, we got accused of being Smurfs.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. Like, it's really annoying. And Arnold, you played Battlefield 4 with us last night. You know how this goes. You start doing well, and the other team starts throwing out accusations. He's hacking. This guy's doing that. That Stone NL guy that we were playing against last night in Battlefield, he got me 5 times in a round with a DMR up close when I was firing a LMG at him. And it was like, there's no way in the world this guy is that good with the DMR that he can hip fire it at me from 4 feet away and kill me every time. It's the same thing that happened to us in Counter-Strike, where it's like we were doing okay, or we had people who were doing alright, and we get, hey, you guys are hacking, or you guys are Smurfs, or whatever the hell it may be. It happens in every online game without
Pretty
fail.
much, dude.
Oh yeah, because there's no one that's better than you.
Yeah.
If you get beaten,
Anybody
it's
who's better
obviously
than me is
because someone's cheating.
Anybody worse than me is a noob.
No one has skill.
Yep.
It's a well-known fact that everyone is terrible at all video games. Pro players, not existent. It's just one of those really annoying things that has come up more and more. I guess it used to be very rare when I played on the Xbox to have people like throwing out, hey, you're hacking or whatever it is, because, for all intents and purposes, that's a closed box. You're not really able to load hacks in unless you had gone through a pretty specific process, and still then it wasn't too common. Of course now, apparently in the old Call of Duty games, it's everywhere on every one of the games. But on the PC, because you have that helpful chat box, it's every game is just, you guys must be hacking, you're cheating, you're being cheap, I don't like you. And a lot of how many times somebody fucked their mom. It's ridiculous. But Arnold, you and I had a pretty fun game of Battlefield Rush. No one really commented on it, despite the fact that we won a game on Dawnbreaker in 9 minutes, rushing as the attackers.
Yeah, goons working together is a pretty beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Was it pretty close to how we used to run on what was it?
Yeah, it was the closest I'd
Bad
seen to 360 level of getting wrecked.
Yeah, it was ugly, but you know what, and the reason I brought it up is not to just mention Battlefield 4, which is like part of our podcast now. We might as well get a sponsorship with EA at this rate. But no, the fact that I wanted to bring up is that we got told that we were team stacking, and that was about it. No one accused us of hacking. They knew that they were bad at the game, and they were playing it, not optimally, and they fucked up. I mean, you had one guy who was looking straight down at a group of us and refused to fire on us. It was just, they were really bad. Yeah, there was when we planted the last point, there was a guy right above us who just would not go down to defuse the bomb, and didn't shoot at anyone except if they left the group.
Just wait.
Yeah, just I'm going to pick off this one guy and I'm going to show him all. But yeah, it's that sort of thing. It bugs me that I can't play a game and be good at the game, or even decent. I'm not good at Battlefield. I'm not amazing at it by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm good enough to get by, and occasionally I have a really, really good game in a Little Bird or a tank or something like that, and I get told I'm hacking. It's like, no, I shot your helicopter down with a rocket.
I really feel that's the video game experience, though,
Yeah, and if it's not that, they just accuse you of not having a life and playing it all the time. And
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
Exactly.
One time in Call of Duty, I want to say the first Black Ops, we had this moment where one of the guys on the other team in the lobby is just like, y'all got no lives, you ain't got no girlfriends. And I go, I live with my girlfriend. And he's like, how old are you? And I go, 26. He's like, oh man, how many kids you got? None. Oh, you loser, you don't got no kids at 26? And it's like,
What?
this is an actual conversation I had with a real ass person, and I was just absolutely stunned. It's like, are you going to go further down into the list of things that I could be, and then try to find an insult for me?
Pretty much.
Like, you are not maximizing your earning potential at your age. Like, with your education, you
need to diversify your bonds.
yeah, pretty much.
You need to diversify your portfolio, son.
It's this really weird situation where people feel the need to take people down a peg in some way or another, and it's just really frustrating to watch. But I mean, there's not a ton you can do about anyone. That mindset is so pervasive throughout video games. It's ridiculous.
I think it's worse with, kind of the generation or two that's younger than us.
Yeah,
Because kids are all growing up now not having experienced losing. You know, they have everyone gets a trophy day.
We're getting their ass kicked every day.
They just make that Arnold voice. They leave you alone.
But I mean, they're not used to losing.
Yes, the Arnold voice is a defense mechanism from bullying.
Why do you sound like someone who had a stroke? Stop making that noise.
It's my only defense.
I'm defending myself.
Like Commando. Yeah. I can't do an Arnold impersonation to save my life. But yeah, I think you're kind of right in that regard. It's just, it's honestly, let's think about it. It's always been something that's happened with competitive shooters, especially, where people will accuse you of all sorts of shit that has no basis in reality, just so they can say it.
When you say competitive shooter, do you mean like Sandy Hook?
I'm talking like Quake and counterstrike and stuff like that, where people would play. And by competitive, I mean any game where you're playing PvP shooters. People would accuse you of hacking or like aimbotting or whatever you want to call it all the time in any of those games, no matter what. And yeah, watching, I think it is kind of one of those generational things where there are definitely people who would go in, it's like, why can't I win? And they'll leave as soon as their team does poorly or whatever it is, or try to switch teams. It's like, well, no one wants to be on the losing team, but occasionally some people have to be on the losing team. You can't all be.
Hellbender has to play at some point.
You can't. I was gonna say you can't all be winners. This is not T-ball. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
I mean, even my T-ball league when I was a kid was one of those, like, everyone takes a turn at bat for each inning. We're only going to play 3 innings because these kids are 7. But,
yeah, but I still remember distinctly keeping score
yeah.
and winning or losing games. Yeah, we all still got trophies at the end, but we still, knew the concept of winning and losing a game.
Yeah.
Getting that ass beat.
Yeah, but I think a lot of kids don't participate in those sports anymore. Like T-ball and football at a youth level is not as common. It's all soccer now. But I tried to convince my sister-in-law to enroll my nephew in football, and she wouldn't do it. I was really upset. It's like, that kid's going to get his ass kicked one way or another. If it's going to be other kids his age or me, you have to decide that one. I'll show that motherfucker. But yeah,
I'll hit you till you love me, boy.
Yeah. It's a good variation on the Mike Tyson quote. Fuck you till you love me. So yeah, that's I think the big thing I remember from that whole experience is that second round where we got told we were hackers.
And we lost.
And we lost. Oh man! And then our team, like midway through the thing, our team started saying like, "Turn on your hacks now that you're winning, huh?" Like that doesn't even make sense as a concept. Why would I start hacking as soon as I start winning? That doesn't make sense. It's like, am I going to secure my lead or something? The fuck? So yeah, I think that was kind of the takeaway from that night. You guys want to do more of those? Maybe look for something else we can all play together?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely.
It'd be nice to maybe do a midweek thing where we all play a video game together.
Yeah, hey, I'd look forward to that.
Like, none of you guys are filthy Jehovah's, right?
No.
Maybe Wednesdays.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, because...
Wow, that was bad.
That was, yeah.
Whenever I get exposed to Drekkens, like, I talk like that for the next month.
I thought Jehovah's Witness
That's Saturday,
observed on Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, well, close enough. Well, I think it's even better because I don't know enough about their culture to even know what day they do.
Yeah.
Actually,
just make shit up now.
I want to say it's maybe the largest Jehovah's Witness. I don't want to call it a compound. The largest Jehovah's Witness church, I think, on the East Coast, was recently built in the middle of nowhere, South Carolina. It's literally near nothing. I have no idea why they chose to build it there.
Because it's near nothing,
I guess.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, some of the Baptist church here still put it to shame in terms of size.
Well, of course, it's the South.
The South.
The South.
Going to church. Yeah. Drink whiskey, go to church. Go to Baptist church after drinking whiskey. No one says a word about it. So yeah, I think Wednesday might be a good night. I think Three Toes, you don't have anything on Wednesday, do you?
I do until Labor Day.
Okay, well, hey Arnold.
Well, whatever. We'll talk about it
then my
quote air.
Yeah.
it's my bowling league.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Well, geez, I'm on a trivia team, Arnold. Let's start making fun of all of our extracurricular activities.
I've got my vaginal exploration team.
No, you don't.
We're called the Splunkers.
Is it just people who play Spelunky together? Is that all it is?
No. It's about finding vaginas and going cave diving.
If they're that cavernous, I don't think you really want to be bragging about that.
Well, you just rub on the sides a little bit, you know.
God. I don't know why I went down this path.
That's what your mom said.
Yeah, after her first child. What the fuck was I thinking? Wait, that's me. That was me. I basically had a 12-minute rant against children today at a child's birthday party, and how you basically have to be
that kind of owns.
You'd basically have to be on some sort of psychedelic to think having a child is a good idea. With a child hanging off me, trying to get me to go play with water balloons. Yeah, this is really well thought out. But
Uncle Broman, love me.
Yeah, no.
Look what I can do.
I could do that when I was your age. Fuck you, Stuart. Yeah. So let's switch topics here. I brought this up before everything started, but the Rise of the Tall Boy is actually really fantastic. And I know that this is probably going to be a long-ass derail, but let's go with what the Tall Boy is in my mind.
Beer
at least.
chat.
In my mind, the Tall Boy is a pint can. Does anyone else disagree with that? Arnold, you thought it was a 40.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't
40s or
drink
40s.
beer, so...
If a bunch of Schlitz boys, just
Schlitz malt liquor.
Now, see, they've always, and again, the terms for them vary, too. We'll usually call the 24 ounces mortar shells, master cylinders, tall boys, all kinds of slang terms for them.
Yeah.
But usually
Master
they're
cylinder.
24 ounce here.
Master cylinder, really?
That's a good one. I like that.
Usually it's 24. Occasionally you'll see a pint can, but we can get a 24 for maybe 30, 40 cent more than the tall boy. So it really, or the 16 ounce. So it really doesn't make any sense to buy 16 when you can just buy 24.
Yeah, I can see that being. Oh my God, the new Rise of the Triad game must have done terribly because it's on sale for $3 on Steam right now.
Really? Well, it was
Yeah.
$15 to begin with.
It was. It's on sale for $3. You can get a 4-pack for $9.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
We
what
should
the
get that
fuck?
and we can all play it together.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's on Mac, is it?
Oh, God, you and your fucking Mac.
But anyways, like where I am, you cannot get it for you can't get the 16. You can get a 16 ouncer a pint. I have never seen a 24 ouncer anywhere in the area.
It's because you're in Obama's America.
There's all kinds of crazy shit like that. Like the for buying packs of beer, like cans or bottles, the most you can get here is 24. Like a 24 pack of beer. I think Arkansas you can get like a 30 pack, which just boggles my mind. I think Florida there's a bunch of different ones too.
30. I get 30s up here all the time.
30s? Yeah, see, most we can get is 24. Dude, I fucking love Coors Original. That's all I drank in college.
That is what I bring to parties. I almost got called up to bring Coors to the party today, actually. Like it's what I'm known for. I showed up last year at this parade that goes by my parents' house called VJ Day, which is Victory Over Japan Day. It's the last. It is the last town in the country that celebrates it with a parade.
What? Really?
I kid you. There used to be two. There used to be another one in Rhode Island, but they've stopped doing it. So, despite the fact that I live in Connecticut, we've decided to keep to the fucking South traditions here and still celebrate Racism Day, basically. And there's always a guy in a bamboo cage because, like,
oh my god,
really?
I kid you not.
Does the word slant get thrown around a lot?
No, there were actually Asian people in the parade last year, which was a first. They're trying to diversify. But, yeah, it's a big thing. Anyways, I brought a 30-pack of Coors Banquet, and me and my brother-in-law basically drank the entire thing over the course of 2 hours.
Dude, I love it, man.
It's great.
The bars around here have started carrying it.
Really?
Yeah, like pretty widespread, and they've got the whole... like throwback cans riding off Miller's coattails.
Yeah.
It's great. I can even get 24 ounce of Coors Original.
Jesus.
The only downfall, at least around here, especially this time of year when it gets hot, the only downfall of buying the 24 or the 16 is that 24 gets warm so quick.
Yeah, it does.
What I said
like
about
you
your
have to
mom,
just
but, I mean,
down it.
Yeah. Arnold, in your Nazi state that you seem to be living in, you're not allowed to buy 40s, which is just...
Yeah. 32 is the biggest you can get, which really kind of puts a damper on my slumming experience.
What you do, Arnold, this is Uncle Broman's patented method of getting drunk as shit, is you drink a little bit of your 32 ounce, and then you pour in some really cheap bourbon.
Oh, all right.
Now, it's actually whiskey and beer that makes the Boilermaker, and that's an actual real-ass drink.
I know.
But, yeah, go with, like, Old Crow. I mean, you can get, like, a gallon of Old Crow for cheaper than milk, basically.
Old Crow, Jesus fucking Christ.
God,
yes. Gallon.
I have, no joke, purchased gallons of Old Crow. And not for, like, sharing experiences, because my wife doesn't drink Old Crow. This is, like,
just for
personal use. It's like, Lazy Fire's Reserve. Come on
God,
into the house.
That sounds like the most depressing game.
They literally sell it in relabeled milk jugs.
I would buy that whiskey so fast. I was telling Arnold last night, I was sipping on some pineapple moonshine.
Nice.
Yeah, comes in a mason jar. It's pineapple. You don't even realize there's alcohol in it, but I've been drinking it most of the day.
Yeah, it gets pretty dangerous.
That's you ever have Wild Blue?
No.
It's a blueberry beer, and I bought it the first time.
I've had Sweetwater Blue,
which
is the same thing. It tastes like a blueberry muffin.
Yeah, but it's dangerous because it's like 8% alcohol or something like that, and most beers in this area, or most beers you buy on a shelf are like at most 5.2 or something like that. This stuff's up there, man. And so one time I was just drinking, I had like 3 of them and I just drank them in succession without getting up. And because that's how I spend my Saturdays. And I stood up and I immediately almost fell back over. I'm like, oh, maybe mainlining 7.2 by volume beers in a row is not a great idea. But yeah.
We're getting spoiled down here, since this city's slowly becoming more and more of a beer town. I think we have 11 breweries up and running in the state.
Wow.
Now,
That's
and
fast.
I know of at least 4 or 5 more that are in the works. But yeah, I hear 7.2, and that's about the average nowadays.
Yeah.
Like ever since South Carolina did away with their like high gravity laws or whatnot.
Oh
High
boy.
gravity?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for like the longest time, you couldn't. I don't think you could buy a beer in a store over like 6.2, 6.8, something like that. And now, I mean, you can buy, shit that's 11, 12%.
Yeah. That's it's one of those things. In Connecticut, they actually removed the blue laws, so you're able to buy.
Why the law's got to be blue?
That's that's county by county here.
Same here.
So there's
same here.
there's still a few counties that are like you can't purchase on Sunday. Bars have to close at 12 on Saturday night.
Jesus
Shit
Christ.
like that. Yeah, but that's mainly just the more rural counties.
Unironically, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. We're getting.
Aren't there drive-through booze stores in Florida?
I think maybe. I don't remember.
I think that was like Georgia. I saw that like you go through and you get like a thing of ice, and it's like, yeah, just pour my liquor right into it, and you drive off with it.
Yeah, I think they were calling them like brew-throughs or something.
Yeah. There are a
Florida,
couple
I don't know
of
if you know this, but Florida has all sorts of fucked up shit that happens, like in places that I'm not at, because this is basically a bunch of Northerners where I live. But yeah, so things.
What was it? My wife said that where she went to school, she went to Temple University, not a temple, but there was a guy who would drive the water ice truck. It's not water ice; it's water ice. Yeah.
Sorry, I had to.
Puke at the Jersey thing.
Yeah, God,
but
fucking Jersey.
and I knew this because I
didn't
went
know
to
your wife was one of them. God.
No, she comes from this state up here. It's everyone called it that because most people at Temple were from Jersey and Philly, and so said water instead of water. But anyways, like Arnold's like, man, he should reconsider this marriage. It's not going to work out if she says water.
Christ, like you say that and I get fucking sick. There's this girl that I've been seeing and like she says water like that and I'm just like, like every time I'm just like, I swear to God, I'm about to fucking throw you. If we were in a spaceship, I'd throw you out a fucking airlock.
In a certain situation, I would totally get you done. But yeah, there was a truck that would drive around that was like that basically and hang out outside the bars, and you'd go up and you'd pay some money and you'd basically get a bunch of vodka that was poured into some ice. It's like water ice. Yeah, it's good stuff. It's like, holy shit.
Yikes.
I need to find one of those trucks up here. So, hey, who knows? But yeah, the rise of the tall boy is fascinating to me because I went and bought 10 pints for $10. It's like, holy shit.
Well, just overall, like not just tall boys. There's even been kind of a resurgence in canning beer, even in like craft breweries.
Yeah,
like
Sam
more and more
Adams.
craft breweries are starting to like can their beers rather than bottle,
Yeah,
or do a mix of both depending on the beer.
right. And I was gonna say Sam Adams is doing canned beers now, which I've never seen them do until maybe last year, and that's coming through like hard on a lot of places. It seems to be a thing. Like Gansett is canning again, which I thought was weird. And maybe you guys don't know Gansett because it used to be like a Rhode Island into Connecticut thing. It's actually brewed in New York now. Actually, you know what? I'll take a detour. I am super excited because it looks like Yingling's coming back to Connecticut.
Nice.
Yeah.
Isn't that? I always thought it was a Pennsylvania beer.
It is, but it used to be all the way up into Massachusetts, I thought. And they decided to sort of secede from the markets and go back to Pennsylvania and kind of focus on their core business. But they've been slowly creeping back out. They've been gone since like '96 or something like that up here.
We got it down here around about 10 years ago because I think they opened up a Florida brewery as well.
Yeah. Someone said that there's all these rumors. It's really interesting. All the rumors in the state, if you go talk to distributors and everything, and people who are really into the beer culture in the state, which is increasing because it's increasing because Vermont has like 1 billion breweries, and we get a lot of Vermont breweries and beers and stuff like that down here. But there's a lot of local ones, and there's a lot of importers in the state. So we've got a pretty decent like set of options, and we're expanding with our brewery operations here too. But if you talk to certain people, they'll tell you the reason that Yuengling's not here is because Sam Adams pays him to stay out of the market, or because Yuengling doesn't think Connecticut's good enough, or whatever it was. What happened was Yuengling just decided to focus on core business because they were losing money pretty fast, and they needed to reestablish themselves. So that's why we don't see it anymore, but it's coming back. I'm super excited. Have you guys... Another detour. Have you ever heard the story of Magic Hat number 9?
No.
Nope.
Have you ever had a Magic Hat number 9?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah. Okay, Arnold's a punk.
It's good. It's an apricot beer.
Yeah. That's like what they
God.
specialize in.
Hey, give me a second. I gotta go get my fucking Vagisil.
I'm sorry about your yeast.
Why is your vagina itching?
Not even because you said apricot, but because you said apricot.
I think that's how it's supposed to be pronounced.
It's an apricot.
Okay.
No.
God damn it. I feel like I'm getting more belligerent. We might need to shorten the podcast because I feel like I get more belligerent around the 30-minute mark, which, if I'm not mistaken, is just about where we're at.
Yeah.
It's not my problem. You talk funny.
Yeah. Not my problem. You talk wrong.
Hey, bitch.
So
Don't make me.
You speak bad.
you don't speak none.
Oh God.
Why you speak wrong, Arnold?
Grammar.
Yeah. I'm gonna end with a preposition, motherfucker. So the story behind Magic Hat number 9 is that the guy who founded Magic Hat, one of the two, he was actually a local eccentric in Burlington, who happened to also own Green Mountain Coffee Roasters and Seventh Generation Cleaners. So 2 like moderately sized, decent businesses. But he'd go to the college there and would go around, introduce himself as the owner of those 2 other businesses, and then mention that he had a beer there. He had a keg of it. He'd go with a keg to a party and like offer it to them, and then find the drunkest people at the party and tell them all a different story about why it was called Magic Hat number 9.
That owns.
And then they would get together at the end, and they'd all have this huge argument over why people called it Magic Hat number 9. And so everyone would start drinking it because they're like, why would they call it number 9? I don't understand. So it turned out it was just the 9th beer they brewed there. But this guy had like this. He was basically trolling drunk kids at a college party.
That's great.
I love hearing about proto trolls.
Yeah. But apparently that guy's still around Burlington and will like ride his moped around the main drag all day.
Moped?
Yeah. Sorry, moped. Sorry, Arnold, I didn't pronounce it right.
Around here, son.
It has 2 E's in Florida.
That's a scooter around these parts. But also, speaking of Sam Adams, it's kind of funny how, they got started as basically like the craft brewery, back 80s and 90s. Like no one ever really thought about much about craft beer. And now they're trying to get back to being a craft brewery because no one thinks of them as craft anymore.
Oh, no. And
and they came out with that Rebel IPA,
mm-hmm.
which is just painfully mediocre, first off. And second of all, they completely ripped off pretty much the name and design of a beer by a Brewdog brewery called the Punk IPA. Like, if you look up the 2 labels between the 2, like, they just completely ripped it off. Like, the fonts, the style, the placement of the words, it's kind of sad.
Yeah, and Sam Adams, honestly,
they're like a dad trying to prove he's still cool. That's basically what Sam Adams is now.
You know
It's
what?
like, I'm hip.
in a can.
I'm with it.
I'm one of you kids.
I can do the Macarena.
Oh, God damn it.
Stop, Dad. It's painful.
You kids want to hear a joke?
Yeah.
Don't tell your mother.
Black people.
Whoa.
A little racy for dad jokes. But, yeah, Sam Adams is just... one of the guys I know is happens to drive a truck occasionally, and said that one time his job was to drive down to North Carolina and then pick up a truck and then drive back to Connecticut. What he picked up was Sam Adams. Like, they contract these breweries all over the country and, make Sam Adams because they can't all do it from the same company up in Boston. Right. It's just too much. It's too big now. But, you have to give him credit. It did start out as a guy brewing in his dad's attic. That's not made
absolutely.
up. They built the business, sale by sale. And you have to give them credit for it, at the very least. But, yeah, they really do need to get back, because some of the quality on some of their stuff is dropping. Like their cherry wheat, which is one of the things I really like about Sam Adams, has not tasted good in 2 years. And have you had their Porch Rocker?
I want to say I had it at Great American Beer Fest, but I don't remember anything about it.
It's their summer shandy, and it tastes like somebody took Boston Lager and poured Country Time pink lemonade into
Piece
it.
Of shit.
Bastin. The only thing from Sam Adams I really want to still try that I haven't had a chance is the Utopias stuff, just to say that I've tried it.
I've never even heard of that.
It's like 22% beer.
Okay.
It goes for like $200 a bottle.
Yeah,
it's in like these really cool like copper still looking bottles. They took it to Great American Beer Fest, but they wouldn't tell anyone when they were tapping the keg of it or when they were opening the bottles to pour. So basically, you either had to hang out by Sam Adams' tent the entire time, or keep checking back constantly. And even talking with the people working the booth, hey, can you just help me out? Let me know when you're going to be pouring. Oh no, sorry, man. Have you tried our Rebel IPA? It's like, yeah, it's bad. When are you pouring Utopias? And they brought maybe less. I'd say probably less than a dozen bottles of it, just because it is really intensive to brew the stuff. But it was gone within 10 minutes. Yeah. Like hardly anyone got to try it. So I'm kind of salty towards Sam Adams.
Yeah, I hate that shit at festivals and like events where they're like, we're gonna bring this out at some point, and it's like, yeah, could you just do it now?
Well, no, I understand, with putting a time on it, as long as they tell you what time they're going to be pouring it. It's marketing. They want you to come by their booth, and it's, and for people who might, get there later in the day or who are still coming in, like, you can't have everything just available straight from the start, because, the people who might have been able to get there early or know people who let them in early can, drink all of it and not let anybody else try it. But I'm okay with them timing out their releases, but tell me what time you're pouring it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, I will come and patronize you and give you my business, but don't expect me to just hang out the entire day.
Yeah, I just think that it's one of those things, if they tell you when they're going to tap the keg or they're going to open the bottle or whatever it may be, that they're just going to create a rush at that time.
That's the idea.
They want you to come back and keep trying their shit, or so they can sell you on stuff. Because, they've got all these kegs. They don't want to fly them back. That's going to be expensive if they have to fly back, like 8 kegs or something like that are full.
Well, then they should make better beer that I want to drink.
Well, they can't help how shitty their IPAs are. It's an IPA.
Hi-yo.
Yeah,
no, see, I love, I'm a complete hophead. I love hoppy beer, but theirs are just mediocre.
Yeah. So that has been Beer Chat. It took up 40 minutes of this podcast.
Well, yeah.
We have nothing else to talk about.
I feel like it really contributed there. You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome. I got back into playing, of all things, Assassin's Creed 4 this week. It was a lot better than I remembered. But I jump between a couple things on Assassin's Creed 4, and I think it's the overall feel of Ubisoft that I don't like about the game, which is just like, hey, you guys have played Assassin's Creed 2 through whatever, how about Assassin's Creed 4? We're going to emphasize one aspect of the game over and over again. Like, there's some really nice quality of life changes to the game, but at the same time, it's like, it's an Assassin's Creed game. My guy's going to look at the wrong person, he's going to jump on the wrong thing, it's going to be a bitch to walk around, which shouldn't be the point of a game with parkour in it. It's so weird to have...
Is 4 the Revolution one?
3 is the Revolution, the American Revolution. The one coming up later this year, Unity, is the French Revolution, and Assassin's Creed 4 is piracy. And,
Black Flag.
Yeah, it's basically Pirates of the Caribbean.
The good one?
It's pretty good. I like it. But then again, I skipped 3 and all the sequels to 2, because 2 had, I think, like 3 games that were in that same timeline, or whatever it was, with the same character. It was... Man, they went all out with that one. That was ridiculous. Like, Assassin's Creed 2 engendered such goodwill for Ubisoft on the Assassin's Creed franchise after the first game came out, and it was like a terrible disappointment. And like, it wasn't bad, but it was just very like mediocre after it had been hyped so much. And then 2 fixed like all of its problems except for a few, and then they made 3 more games in that same like world. They just really rode that money train into the ground, and it worked out for them. Can't stop them. But 4 feels like a completely different thing, because in 2 you were always on foot. You could swim somewhat. There wasn't really a point to it. In 4, you are on the high seas, and you can just like get on your boat and go wherever you want. And there's, you can go whaling, which apparently got Peter really angry at the game. Like, you can go whaling in the game, or you can go like hunting monkeys and shit and panthers. You get like, you have like 4 or 5 pistols strapped to the front of you, right? Yeah, like, and instead of reloading the pistols, you just fire them and then go to the next one. So, you'll see a guy in a cutscene who's got like 6 of them on him. It's like, that guy's a badass or a really bad shot. I'm not sure which. But yeah, it's pretty fun. You can like straight up jack people's rides in terms of ships. Good times. But that's kind of what I was playing a lot this week. I left it for a long time because I was just like frustrated with how it was, and I jumped back into it, and I feel a lot better about it for whatever reason. But I've done that with a couple other games too. Have you guys ever had that thing where you kind of like leave a game and then come back to it and find yourself actually enjoying it more than before?
Yeah.
I
I
kind of did that with...
Steam has ruined my memory of games, though.
I did that with Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
Like, after I like marathon played that when it first came out, like beat it in a week, and then put it down for a while, and then kind of came back to it and just treated it like a great Western sandbox game.
Yeah, it's Red Dead Redemption was one of those things that I basically played straight through. I didn't really have any problems with the game. I thought it was really good.
Oh yeah.
But then I started up another playthrough, or no, I did the epilogue, and I was like, okay, well, we're done here. The interesting character that I wanted to play as is no longer with us.
Yep. Yeah.
I was kind of sad by that.
And then the Halloween expansion they did.
Oh God, Undead Nightmare.
Is it good?
It was corny as hell, which it was supposed to be.
Right.
They kind of treated it like a corny horror movie. But no, you could play as zombie John Marston and like fire up the regular Red Dead Redemption world, not play as bitchy little Jack Marston, and still play, basically sandbox mode with zombie John Marston.
Yeah.
And because you had on the D-pad, if people talking to you or whatnot, you could press left for like a negative comment or write for a positive one, which they didn't have in GTA 5, now that I'm thinking about it, which I really missed. But Zombie John Marston would just gurgle and growl at people instead of like talking. So be like, "Howdy, mister."
Oh my god. Yeah, more games need to do stuff like the Red Dead expansion was, or whatever it was. Like just the complete reskinning of the world and everything like that was kind of neat.
Yeah.
I never actually played it. I heard really good things about it.
It was solid. It was really, really solid. Not expensive, and I mean, of course, it wasn't long. I mean, you could beat the whole thing in like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, still being able to do that and being able to ride around in that kind of world is kind of neat.
Yeah, and I mean, it added all these, and it wasn't just like a main story mission either. There were all these kind of side quests. Like you can go find all 4 horses of the apocalypse and ride them. You can go find and kill the chupacabra. There are all kinds of like it was like the mythical creatures side missions. It was really fun. It was nice to see them kind of thinking outside of the box with some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like finding and deciding whether or not to kill the last Bigfoot in existence. Who spoke with like perfect English.
Neat.
Like English?
Yeah. It was like, gave you this whole story about how his species have been hunted to extinction, and he's like begging you to kill him because he's the last of his kind, he's lonely, and you had to decide if you wanted to basically murder the last remaining Bigfoot or not.
Yeah.
God, I think I might fire up my Xbox and replay that again.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait until you hear that jet engine sound and just like turn it right back off, thinking it's gonna break.
Well, if you had a later one, it wasn't really like that. But
I don't
of
think.
Of course, I burned through 5 of them, so.
I don't think the air conditioner in my house can keep up with me turning my Xbox on during the summer.
Christ.
Yeah, the Xbox, I turned it on to record one thing for the Battlefield 4 LP, and I was like, oh my god, this thing's either on its last legs or I never noticed how bad it is. Because it sounded like someone had just basically put a ceiling fan inches from my face and turned it on high. And I was sitting like a few feet away, and just like, holy hell, this thing is going to explode. I don't know how I ignored that, or if it was just like not that bad because I played it all the time and it was just used to running.
Well, the workaround was installing the game to your hard drive so that it would have the initial spin up of the CD drive and then shut off eventually.
That was a later addition to the console too. Like that's
right.
Man, I gotta say, like one of the weird things about the console generation that we're going into right now, which is kind of hilarious to me, is just the I don't know what to say. It's that they've improved the hardware to a level where a graphics card from 5 years ago could almost the Xbox could almost replicate what a graphics card from 5 years ago can do, like in terms of what it's pushing out and what you can play with. It's like, oh well, it's got 8 gigs of RAM in the system, but that's shared between CPU and GPU. You know, I've got 8 gigs dedicated to CPU and 3 to my GPU alone. It's just like you're not impressing anyone with what you can put in a box anymore. And I hear it runs really loud. Apparently, also Aaron Paul, he did a commercial for the Xbox One, and apparently, at
just
one
point, so you know, when you said that, I raised my eyebrow, and then I realized that he's not related to Ron Paul.
No, it's the guy from Breaking Bad.
Science, bitch.
Yeah, that guy. He did a commercial for Xbox.
Yeah.
The Xbox One, and at one point he says Xbox on in the commercial, and apparently the Kinect sensors, despite the fact they're like, no. It can't detect stuff that's coming through your TV. That way people can't yell Xbox off at you and turn your Xbox off. It was turning people's Xbox Ones on when he said it. in the commercial.
Really?
Yeah, so the Kinect's obviously taken a step back, or it's a hilarious trolling tool that you could totally use.
That fucking owns. Holy shit.
But a study recently suggested that about 45% or so of people who try to use the Kinect voice commands can't get them to work every single time. That includes basic things like Xbox On. But there's also things where you actually have to say the full name of the app or whatever you want to run. Like HBO Go, brought to you by HBO, or something like that.
Oh, God.
Like, you have to say the full thing. You can't just say
kidding me?
Xbox run HBO Go. You have to... Yeah, there's another one that was really weird at the very start of the console. That was like Doritos or something.
I remember that. It basically made you read a commercial to
Yeah.
get it to activate.
Yeah, and people, like, the Kinect is such... I'm glad the Xbox One decided to kick the Kinect to the curb, so to speak. Like, it's the peripheral that nobody asked for, that nobody who actually uses a console wanted. But Microsoft had good sales numbers. They sold like 20 million of those things on the original Xbox 360. But there is never like a game that anyone said, I need to get a Kinect now so I can experience this thing.
It was convenient to wave your hand and pick Netflix shows. That was fun.
Okay, Arnold. What was the gaming use for that, though?
Hey, when they finally come out with a Minority Report video game, you're going to want those hand-waving
I
gestures.
felt like Tom Cruise. I got in my white skin-tight jumpsuit, and I just like waved my hands around and then jumped on my couch.
With classical music playing in the background?
Yep. So, I played a video game.
Oh, did you?
It was fun, or it is fun. I'm on Chapter 4. Telltale Games came out with, well, it was last year, but, you know, whatever, Steam sale on it. The Wolf Among Us, which I was skeptical of, but now, since I've played it, it's pretty fucking fantastic. Premise of the game is you play as the big bad wolf, and you're the sheriff of Fabletown, and all the fables are based on fairy tales. But it's very noir. Snow White's a secretary for the government of Fabletown. Ichabod Crane is the deputy mayor. And there are murders that you need to solve, which of course leads you down a path of meeting all sorts of types. The game opening is you coming on the woodsman, you know, the one who killed the big bad wolf in Little Red Riding Hood. And he's beating up a hooker.
Of course.
I shit you not. And you beat his ass, and it ends up he gets his an axe in his skull.
Oof.
Yeah. And yeah. But from there, you meet all sorts of fables. Some are better off than others. Little Mermaid, she's a stripper.
Oh, well.
Yeah. Georgie Porgy Puddin' Pie. He runs a strip joint called the Puddin' Pie, and on his he's like basic. You know what a chav is?
Yes.
Yeah. He's basically a chav, and he runs a strip club. And on his fingers, his right hand says PUDN on the fingers, and PIE exclamation point on the left hand. I like there's it's so funny, and the story's great. I mean, the voice acting's good. It's basically, oh hey, let's watch the big bad wolf whip or fucking wig out and murder the fuck out of people if you want to. There's this one scene, you know, Grendel from Beowulf. Yeah, you get to tear off his arm if you want to. Like, you get in a bar fight with him, and you're like, and it's like, oh, tear off his arm or leave him alone. It's like, oh, I think I'll tear off his arm. Because he called you a lapdog. And then after that, he's like, oh, you called me a lapdog? Then you throw his arm across the room, fetch. So, yeah, I'm on the 5th chapter now, and I really can't say enough good things about it. I will definitely play through it. Definitely play through it again.
Yeah, so that's based on a comic book, believe it or not, Arnold.
Yeah. I had never heard of the comic book, but honestly, I might read it after this.
Yeah, I don't think it goes in the same direction as that, because I read after I found out what that was from, I actually went and looked at the Wikipedia page, because I'm very lazy about these sort of things, and I decided that I would check out the Wikipedia page to see what it had to say about it. And it sounds like that's just basically using the setup that the Fable comic, which is the Fable is the name of the comic book. Like, it sounds like it's using the setup that's offered by that to construct the world, and then kind of going on and doing its own thing. So, sounds neat.
No, it's definitely good. If you like The Walking Dead at all, I think it might be better than The Walking Dead.
Wow. Yeah, everyone's been focusing on The Walking Dead because it just did start its second season a few weeks ago. Yeah,
it's on, I think, the third episode. I always wait till the end because I fucking hate having to wait, man.
Have you played any of the Telltale games, Three Toes, the ones that they've been coming out with recently?
No.
Any interest in those?
I mean, I saw Wolf Among Us in the Steam sale, and I thought about getting it. It was on my list of maybe wanna buys. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why. I can't remember why I lost interest in it and didn't get it. But I guess at the time I wasn't looking for so much of a story game. It's just something quick and easy I could play and not worry about getting too wrapped up into it.
But Arnold, are you generally a big adventure game player? I mean, why'd you go and buy it?
When I was a little kid, Monkey Island, Monkey Island 2 was actually one of the first computer games I ever played, and I fucking loved it.
And see, I used to be all about those too. Like I loved all the Space Quest games that I could play. God, all those old Sierra games were just amazing.
The Sierra games that would kill you if you forgot a string in the second room and didn't hold on to it.
No, but I mean, I think that's where my love of them comes from. And then I played the first Walking Dead on 360, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great story. It was well done. The art is great. I mean, I liked everything about it, and that extends to the Wolf Among Us. The art is great, and it looks even better on my 1440 monitor. I mean, it's beautiful. It's great.
So I don't think adventure games have ever been about the visuals, though. I mean,
no, that's true. That's true. But I mean, it definitely the visual style in the game really adds a lot to it.
Yeah.
I mean, there were places in it where I'm walking around like, oh damn, this game has really great art direction. You know, you kind of stumble upon a black market magic lab. All the Fables who can't pass for human, like Mr. Toad, they have to get what's called a glamour, which makes you look human. So all the non-humans have to have a glamour. There are some who can pass for human, like Snow White, Beauty, Beast when he's human. Big Bad Wolf can stay human. But yeah, and there are black market glamours, and somebody was paying a prostitute to look like Snow White so they could bang them. Yeah, I shit you not. It's definitely a dark story, and it's really, really interesting. Mr. Toad is probably one of my favorite characters. He swears a lot and yells at his kid.
Good, got to do that.
A real inner city parent.
Oh God, yeah. I was kind of intrigued by Wolf Among Us as well. I think I saw an ad for it or something like that on a YouTube video, and I was like, that actually looks kind of neat. And then I found out it was a Telltale game, and then I remembered I'd never played an adventure game in my entire fucking life.
Well, you have to like that sort of thing. It's definitely more criticism. There are parts where you're getting the story told to you, but it is based upon your decisions and all that, and that's fine. And that's good, but there are fairly long periods where you're basically watching the story. It's more of an interactive movie than really having to solve anything, where your choices kind of change the movie. And if you're up for that, great. It's great. I mean, it really is a good story.
Now I remember that's what turned me off of it.
What was that?
Now I remember that's kind of what turned me off of it. It did seem more like a visual story than a game. at the glance I saw of it.
But
Which
that's kind of the thing that I've always liked about single player games. I like the having an influence on the story or seeing the story play out. So I mean, it makes me a little less active of a player. And honestly, if you're doing a point and click adventure game, what's the big fucking deal? What matters is the quality of the story.
I can understand that, but I also really always like the puzzle solving aspect of point and click adventure games too.
Yeah. It's definitely light on that. There's little to none.
Yeah. I don't know. I was never a huge adventure games player. I mean, part of that it was because I really didn't have a PC from '96 to like recently. So imagine there weren't a lot of adventure games on the Nintendo 64 or PlayStation 2 or Xbox.
The heyday of the adventure game was like the early '90s, though.
Yeah.
It's coming back. Telltale and Double Fine are really trying to make it a thing again.
Well, I mean, they do a really good job.
When you get done with the Fear Let's Play, please go find a way to get Space Quest 6 and play that game.
I never played any of the Space Quest.
First of all, it's hilarious. Like, it's got great, slapstick comedy and great puns and great voice acting. But it was pretty much like my favorite adventure game.
Yeah,
it sounds like you're not going to do that.
I played Space Quest 3.
See, that was when it was still kind of like type adventure, like not so much point and click, but you had to like type in commands like open door and shit like that. And that can get kind of tedious.
I don't remember if that was the case, but my cousin had it, and I played it at his house, and like you had to capture the Energizer Bunny with a rope, like a piece of rope or something like that, as the first puzzle. And if you didn't do that, you'd die in like the third room in the game. It's like, welcome to Space Quest.
Six wasn't that harsh. 6 was a little more linear. But yeah, and it's chock full of stupid, cheesy pop culture references from the early '90s and late '80s. Yeah. So, I think you would enjoy it.
Oh, fine, whatever. I actually did finish recording the Fear 2 LP this afternoon.
Nice.
I only had like an hour to go, and I'm like, fuck it. Well, we're going to do this shit. Fear 2, by the way, is, if I had to guess, a longer game than most of your average like Call of Duties or something like that. Like, it's a fairly long game. I think I topped out at like 8 or 9 hours or something like that, and I beat Black Ops in 4, maybe 5. Like, it's not a long game. But it's still, by the standards of 2009, a pretty long shooter campaign.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was impressive. I mean, Battlefield 4 came out in 2014. That campaign is like 3 hours long.
Yeah, it was not. Yeah. Oh, Mark coming.
You could burn out on that in an afternoon. But Fear 2 is definitely like one of those multi-day. I did it in 4 recordings, but still, that's more than I can say of other games I've Let's played.
I've been playing Metro Last Light, and I have to say I'm pretty impressed with it. It's a quality single player experience as far as the shooter's concerned.
Did you ever play 2033? I
did, and okay. I'm a massive. Whenever I play a shooter, I always play through it on the hardest difficulty possible the first time.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and I'm playing through it on hardcore ranger mode, and it's not really hard. It's just one of these games that it's more focused on stealth than anything. So I mean, you sneak around and like run up and fucking jack people in the face with a those old trench knives from World War One.
Oh, where it was basically brass knuckles, but
yeah.
It.
Well, the animation is well, I'll get to that in a minute. The animation is you tap them on the shoulder and like jack them in the fucking face, and it does the like boxer spit cloud.
Oh fuck!
Oh man, the animations in this game are ridiculous. I've never seen animations that are as good as the ones in this game. Like you go up to punch a dude out who's sitting in a chair. You don't punch above his head. You actually punch him in the face. Like I'm expecting him to punch, whatever, or not to be able to punch him at all, or whatever. Nope. Metro Last Light caters to my need to punch people in the face. Which I mean, really, if
Arnold approves.
It works. And it really is. It's a good game. The story's interesting. I can't say enough good things about it. I bought it on sale, and it's certainly worth the sale.
Yeah.
I almost wish I would have bought it when it came out.
Yeah, I actually got it on sale as well. So I have not booted it up a single time yet. I still have a lot of backlog. But
oh, it's a great looking game too. Holy shit.
Yeah, I heard
really good.
Like when I built my computer, I looked at the graphics settings for that thing, and it was like I took one look and I go, my GPU apparently doesn't meet recommended requirements, and I just built this thing. So it seems
I'm running a 770 on 1440, and I don't dip below 60 frames. I think that might be bullshit, because I'm running it, I think, at the highest or near the highest settings. I mean, it's a goddamn good looking game, man.
Yeah,
I mean, and they're a smaller studio if I remember right.
Well, they're Polish. No, are they Polish? They might be Ukrainian. I'd have to check, but they're Eastern European of some nature.
But it's a great. I mean, it's a AAA shooter from a not quote unquote AAA studio.
Excuse me. 4A Games, Ukrainian, possibly now Russian, but depending on where it was. But yeah, I mean that. I think I mentioned it in one of our early podcasts that when they were building this game, the guy who was running THQ, who used to run Naughty Dog, Jason Rubin, came over and took a look at the studio, and they're basically like running old CRT monitors and using like folding chairs and shit like that, because if you wanted to get any like modern office equipment and stuff like that into Ukraine at the time, you had to pay massive bribes at the border to get it from Poland. So, like, and so if they even, but the problem was they were in crunch time when he went to go see it. So even if he had the funding and there was no like problem doing that, stripping the office and redoing everything and putting all the new stuff in would take too much time for the studio. It'd take them like a week to redo everything, and they'd lose that much time on development, so they would not release on time. So he couldn't. He's basically like, nothing I can do. It's basically slave labor, and just go and make your game. So yeah, but it looks like
I have to say they made a real hell of a game. The English accents are pretty fucking terrible. Or I mean, the English with Russian accents pretty fucking bad. Apparently, it's better to play through it with subtitles than the actual Russian. But it's interesting. I enjoy it. It's a great game.
Over a year old now. I did not know that. I thought it just come out in the fall or something.
It came out about when I built this, maybe a couple months after.
Yeah, March or May of 2013. It looks like here.
But
May of 2013, and published by Deep Silver. It was almost going to be one of the last THQ games published. But yeah, I was really interested in it when I built my computer, because you and I actually started building around the same time.
Yeah.
And so I think we're probably both interested in it, but I decided against it because I was like, Steam sale. And I think it showed up like for $15 on that Steam sale, and I was like, same thing I'm going to do with Dark Souls 2.
Yeah. I think I got it during the Steam sale. It was cheap. I think maybe $10.
$5 this year.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's what I paid for it. But I had a bunch of money from selling all my cards to desperate people who crafting badges and bullshit. So all the nerd things you can do, full on autism.
That's fucking
God.
people are
I gotta address that stupid fucking. Everyone just as soon as you like put any effort into a post or anything like that, this cycles back to the Counter-Strike chat we had earlier on. I love that it immediately is tagged as like you fucking Spurg, anything. It's like this guy looked into the weapon charts and knows what they do. Spurg Lord. It's like let me have a 45-minute conversation about aim assist though. 26 posts overnight, aim assist. Are you fucking for real? You just call everyone else a Spurg? You goddamn Spurg Lord.
Spurg.
God, throw that term around a little bit more. Like, there's definitely times where you're just looking at somebody saying something and you're like, this person has some sort of autism. That's totally fine. It's like when you're watching Sherlock and you watch Sherlock work in the BBC miniseries, of course. It's like, this guy has autism. Like, yeah, I can see it. But when somebody's talking about a game and saying, like, I would really prefer if it didn't do this thing, that's not autism at play. That's somebody who has an opinion. Like, calm down. I can't believe Drekkin's caused so much drama. I can't believe me citing Drekkin's caused that much problem in a thread.
I wish I would have seen your message sooner and gone into the thread and kind of stirred the pot a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say something to you when it first started, and then I kind of like, I was occasionally jumping in, like, I didn't mean you guys to have full-on attacks on this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, right, like, I didn't expect it to do this, but by then most of the damage was done, and everyone kind of self-regulated off of it, and got back into talking about how to get air bursts. Because that's what they've been doing for 2 months. Because China Rising is brand new stuff to them. Yeah, so Spurglords, beer chat. What else do we talk about? Counter-Strike. I mean, we got a lot of stuff done tonight, guys. Congratulations. I'm very glad.
It's the most productive cast to date.
But, yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening, everyone. I hope you enjoyed whatever this was. We'll see you possibly next week.
Maybe. Whatever.
Fuck
Roll
you.
Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.